Are you okay? Because some guests don't want to joke
sure.
about that. How do you deal with other than the wine, how do you deal with the current political environment, the moment we're in?
He claims that he represents people who have been unrepresented, who haven't had a voice.
78% of Americans believe politicians should be held accountable for their actions during the COVID pandemic. And Lady Gaga just became their unexpected spokesperson. When she called out Trump's failures on live TV, she wasn't just speaking as a celebrity, but as someone who watched Americans suffer while he held rallies.
And what is honest and what is dishonest, and be accepting of those things, and not operating from fear.
Melania Trump's defensive response reveals the one thing the Trump family can't stand more than anything else: being confronted with reality. In today's video, we're analyzing exactly what Gaga said that cut so deep, why it matters, and how Melania's reaction exposes the Trump family's greatest weakness. Quick favor before we move on. If you appreciate this content, consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. Believe it or not, more than 92% of viewers haven't subscribed yet. It's free and only takes a second, but it means the world to us. So, did you subscribe already? Great, thank you so much for your support. Now back to the video. Remember when celebrities stayed in their lane? Well, those days are long gone. Lady Gaga didn't just dip her toe into political waters. She cannonballed right into Trump's kiddie pool, splashing his perfectly coiffed hair and bruising that delicate ego.
To vote against Donald Trump, a man who believes his fame gives him the right to grab one of your daughters or sisters.
We've all come to know, and, well, no. Gaga's takedown wasn't your typical celebrity orange man bad rant that Trump supporters love to dismiss. No, Mother Monster came prepared for war. She systematically demolished Trump's COVID response on live television with something his supporters find deeply threatening: actual facts. While many stars might wave their hands and shout vague criticisms, Gaga brought receipts. She didn't just disagree with his politics, as one commentator put it. She went after his character, his leadership, the very image he spent decades building.
It's about the intention. I believe that will reveal itself. People are smart.
Ouch. That's gonna leave a mark bigger than his spray tan streaks. What makes celebrity criticism usually so easy for Trump's base to brush off is the perception of Hollywood types living in bubbles, sipping champagne in mansions while lecturing regular Americans. But Gaga's approach hit differently. She focused on real American suffering, the kind happening in small towns and cities across the country, while Trump was telling everyone COVID would magically disappear. The pop superstar didn't mince words about Trump's massive rallies continuing while Americans were dying by the thousands. Not exactly what Dr. Fauci ordered, right? While medical professionals begged people to stay home and wear masks, Trump was packing supporters shoulder to shoulder like sardines in a MAGA-flavored can. Gaga called this out not as a political misstep, but as a moral failure. She highlighted the stark contrast between Trump's "it'll be gone by Easter" fantasy and the grim reality of overwhelmed hospitals, exhausted healthcare workers, and families saying goodbye to loved ones over FaceTime. Nothing says presidential leadership like promising a miracle while bodies pile up in refrigerated trucks, am I right? What really set Gaga's critique apart from the usual celebrity outrage machine was her precision. She didn't just wave her hands and say, "Trump bad." She meticulously identified specific policy failures and contradictions.
Gaga, are you a Donald Trump fan?
Remember when Trump suggested injecting disinfectant while Gaga was raising millions for COVID relief? She remembered too. Her attack wasn't just rooted in partisan talking points, but appealed to something more fundamental: basic human decency. Instead of framing her criticism as left versus right, she positioned it as right versus wrong. By focusing on human values rather than political ideology, she made her message harder to dismiss as just another liberal celebrity rant. Her critique transcended political divides, as one analysis pointed out, focusing instead on what she perceived as fundamental principles of human decency. Gaga contrasted Trump's divisive rhetoric with her own work advocating for marginalized groups, including mental health awareness and LGBTQ+ rights. This wasn't about Democrat versus Republican. It was about compassion versus callousness. The timing couldn't have been worse for Trump. Gaga's comments came during a period when Americans were taking stock of the pandemic's devastating toll and looking for accountability. People were asking hard questions about whether their government had done enough to protect them.
Are you okay? Because some guests don't want to
Yeah,
talk about
sure.
that. How do you deal with other than the wine? How do you deal with the current political environment in the moment we're in?
Having one of the biggest stars on the planet publicly declaring, "Not enough, not even close," is the kind of PR nightmare that even the best spin doctors can't cure. Trump fans often rush to defend their hero by claiming celebrities should shut up and sing. But that defense rings particularly hollow with Gaga. This is a woman who's built her career on speaking truth to power and advocating for the voiceless. Telling her to stick to music is like telling Trump to stick to, well, whatever it was he was good at before politics. The comparison breaks down pretty quickly, doesn't it? What made Gaga's takedown especially devastating wasn't just what she said, it was how she said it. She didn't come across as a detached elite looking down from her ivory tower. She spoke with the passion of someone genuinely concerned about her fellow Americans, making Trump's "America First" slogan ring hollow when contrasted with his pandemic response that put Trump first, Americans somewhere far down the list. Sure, Trump has weathered celebrity criticism before. He's been the punching bag for late-night comedians, Hollywood stars, and musicians for years. But there was something different about Gaga's precision strike. She didn't just criticize the man, she dismantled the myth he's spent decades crafting. And nothing hurts a narcissist more than having their carefully constructed image shattered on live TV. Shattering Trump's carefully crafted image on live TV wasn't just another celebrity critique. It was psychological kryptonite to a man whose entire existence depends on being perceived as strong and successful.
He claims that he represents people who have been unrepresented, who haven't had a voice.
What is it about Trump's ego that makes certain criticisms bounce off like Nerf bullets, while others penetrate like armor-piercing rounds? The difference might surprise you. Let's be honest, Trump's skin is thinner than the comb-over trying to hide his bald spot. For decades, journalists, comedians, and pretty much anyone with a functioning brain has documented his fragile ego. But not all criticism lands the same way. Some comments make him tweet angrily at 3 a.m., while others send him into full meltdown mode. Gaga's critique hit differently because she attacked something more sacred to Trump than his policies or even his spray tan. She went after his carefully constructed image. Think about it. Trump's entire existence is built around one central myth: that he's a winner, a strong leader, someone who commands respect. It's why his buildings have his name plastered in gold letters taller than most people. It's why he can't stop mentioning crowd sizes. His identity depends on maintaining this illusion.
Now he's got Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga is not too good.
The former reality TV star has spent his entire life crafting a persona that screams success and strength. That golden toilet isn't just for comfort, it's brand reinforcement. But when Gaga portrayed him as weak, ineffective, and, gasp, a loser in his handling of COVID, it wasn't just criticizing a policy decision. It was attacking the foundation of Trump's entire self-worth. This is a man who literally cannot admit when he's wrong. Remember when he drew on a hurricane map with a Sharpie rather than acknowledge a simple mistake? That's because in Trump's world, admitting error equals weakness, and weakness is the cardinal sin. So when a global superstar points out his failures on a national stage, it's like watching someone take a sledgehammer to his psychological load-bearing walls. What makes Gaga's words particularly potent is her cultural weight. Unlike some random Twitter account with 8 followers that Trump can dismiss, Gaga commands attention from millions of diverse fans.
I could tell you plenty of stories. I could tell you stories about Lady Gaga. I know a lot of stories about Lady Gaga.
It could be Donald Trump.
I have nothing to say of him.
Her fan base cuts across political lines, reaching demographics Trump desperately wants in his corner. When she speaks, people, including potential Trump voters, actually listen. There's also the authenticity factor. Trump's relationship with honesty is like his relationship with exercise. They've met a few times, but don't really hang out. His entire approach to criticism typically involves deflection, blame shifting, and yelling fake news until he turns an even deeper shade of orange. But Gaga's critique was grounded in facts about his pandemic response, making his usual "everyone's lying but me" routine harder to pull off convincingly. Trump's standard playbook for handling criticism involves attacking the messenger's credibility. But that's tougher when the messenger has won multiple Grammys, an Oscar, and has raised millions for charitable causes. Gaga's reputation for authenticity stands in stark contrast to Trump's history of, well, let's call it creative interpretation of reality. She's known for being genuine while he's known for not that. The timing couldn't have been worse for Trump either. Her comments landed during a period when he was desperately trying to rewrite the history of his pandemic response. While Americans were still processing the collective trauma of COVID, Trump was busy claiming he handled it perfectly. Gaga's words didn't just contradict his narrative, they reminded everyone of the reality he was working so hard to make people forget. Trump's typical deflection tactics also fall flat against Gaga's critique, because she focused on his competence and character rather than partisan politics. She didn't frame it as Trump failed because he's a Republican, but rather, Trump failed because he prioritized his image over American lives. That's not a left versus right argument. It's a basic human decency argument, making it much harder to dismiss as political bias. When someone with Gaga's influence essentially declares you a failed leader who put your ego above people's lives, it's not just another celebrity hot take. It's a direct challenge to your entire personal mythology. For a narcissist whose existence revolves around being perceived as powerful and successful, there's no greater threat than having that image publicly dismantled by someone more beloved and respected than you.
And if we can reestablish that human connection and get everyone to start speaking, I believe this divisive...
The most surprising casualty of Lady Gaga's Trump takedown wasn't Donald's ego. It was Melania's infamous poker face. For years, we've watched the former First Lady perfect her emotional blockade at public events, mastering the art of looking completely dead inside while standing next to her husband. But something about Gaga's criticism cracked that carefully maintained facade in ways nobody expected. Let's be real, Melania Trump isn't exactly known for jumping into political battles. She's the queen of standing silently in stilettos while her husband rants about whatever conspiracy theory is tickling his brain that day. Remember all those times she swatted away Trump's hand like it was covered in fast food grease? Or those Christmas decorations that looked like she was decorating for the annual Nightmare Before Christmas convention? Melania has spent years perfecting the art of looking like she's mentally calculating how many days until freedom. That's why her response to Gaga was so shocking. It wasn't just that she defended Trump, it's that she suddenly transformed from ice sculpture to mama bear. Body language experts noticed something genuinely different this time. The usually composed Melania, who typically maintains the emotional range of a Madame Tussauds wax figure, appeared visibly agitated. The model-perfect public mask slipped, revealing actual human emotions underneath. Crazy, right? It's like catching your math teacher at a heavy metal concert. Her defense of Trump's pandemic leadership wasn't just the standard "my husband is a great leader" script that political spouses recite while their eyes scream for help. Instead, Melania went straight for the Trump family playbook. If you're cornered by facts, attack the messenger's credibility. She essentially tried to "who does she think she is?" Lady Gaga, only one of the most influential artists of our generation with millions of devoted fans. But sure, Melania, tell us more about how celebrities shouldn't speak on political matters while being married to a reality TV star who became president. What makes this whole situation extra bizarre is the timing. For years, there have been rumors about tension in the Trump marriage. We've all seen those painful videos where Trump reaches for Melania's hand and she responds like he's offering her a dead fish. Remember that infamous clip where her smile instantly transforms into a scowl the moment Trump turns away? Or how about when she wore that "I really don't care, do you?" jacket while visiting detained immigrant children? Not exactly the behavior of someone deeply invested in protecting her husband's public image. Yet suddenly, when Lady Gaga points out some inconvenient truths about Trump's pandemic response, Melania transforms into his most passionate defender. It's like watching someone who's been pretending not to know you for years suddenly claim you're best friends when someone else criticizes you. The whole thing feels forced and strange, like those awkward family photos where everyone's smiling, but you can tell they just finished arguing in the car. Some political analysts have suggested this wasn't just about defending Trump. It was about protecting the family brand. The Trump name isn't just a surname. It's a business empire built on a very specific image of success and strength. When Gaga's criticism threatened to topple that carefully constructed narrative, the family closed ranks. Melania's unusual display of emotion might have been less about genuine outrage and more about damage control for the family business. There's also the theory that the former First Lady was actually bothered by the pandemic criticism specifically. While she maintained her trademark emotional distance during most Trump controversies, COVID was one of the few issues where Melania occasionally showed glimpses of independent thought. She was photographed wearing masks before Trump embraced them and seemed genuinely concerned about virus protection measures. Perhaps Gaga's critique hit a nerve because it touched on an area where Melania actually cared. The whole episode reveals something fascinating about the Trump family dynamic. Criticize the policies, the tweets, the hair, whatever, but when you challenge the core narrative of Trump as a strong, successful leader, that's when the family truly mobilizes. It's like poking a beehive with a stick.
Wrong, and there's this like violence that's taking place on a daily basis in their lives, and
Suddenly everyone comes swarming out to protect the queen, even the bees that normally keep their distance. So that's where we are, folks. Gaga managed what an army of critics couldn't, making both Donald and Melania genuinely squirm by simply stating facts. And it's fascinating, right? The lasting impact of Trump's pandemic blunders continues to follow him like toilet paper stuck to his shoe after leaving a White House bathroom. While the Trumps desperately try to polish their family brand with gold spray paint, Americans haven't forgotten those empty promises while refrigerator trucks were parked outside hospitals. No amount of angry tweets or Melania's sudden defense can erase that legacy. When truth meets authenticity, even the Trump's fortress of alternative facts starts to crumble.